ever wondered where all of the time in your business goes? If you are a practice owner, time is your most valuable asset, right? So, a lot of times we hire an administrative assistant to make our lives and practices smoother. But somehow, in many practices, including mine, things backfire. You're still drowning in emails, scheduling headaches, and random busy work. And you might start asking, what the fuck gives, right? So, while I'm here to tell you that the problem isn't always the person, it can actually be the process. And the fastest way to fix that is a simple time audit. I love time audits. I'm going to talk and give all different examples today in my own practice that we have been using recently. But I love time audits because they expose so many things that we may not really be fully understanding unless we do it. So today I'm going to break down three significant reasons why your administrative assistant has to start doing a time audit, either temporarily or permanently, which I have been having my team do, and how it can actually transform the way your practice runs. Hey friends, welcome back to the Reimbursement Dietitian channel. I am Amy Plano, and around here, I like to share tips that help you run a smoother, more profitable private practice without losing your shit. So if you've got an assistant, you're thinking about hiring one, you're going to want to listen super closely to what the strategy I have today, because it's going to help you avoid so much fucking frustration. So here, in no particular order, I'm going to give you guys my top three critical reasons why you guys should be having your administrative assistant do a time audit, right? So number one, why am I screaming? I always scream on these YouTube videos. It will identify inefficiencies and time wasters, right? First, a time audit uncovers exactly where the leaks in your business are. You can do a time audit in any increment. I do them in Google Drive, so I can see in real time exactly what my assistant is doing and what they are not doing, which we'll talk about in the next part. I have done them in 15-minute increments. I find it's fairer long term to do them in 30-minute increments. And so I have them record every 30 minutes what they were doing for the prior 30 minutes. So that's what a time audit is. So if you think about it in some sense, if your assistant spends 45 minutes a day chasing down clients who don't fill out their paperwork, that's nearly 4 hours a week of lost time. If you multiply that by a month, and it's basically an entire work week gone, right? When your assistant does a time audit and you are expecting it, they're tracking everything they touch, right? In the beginning, when I was having my assistants do this, they were kind of putting like generic topics like build, reconciliations, called patients. But I don't even want to say as a control freak, it was something that was like doing a time audit and not being specific is not very helpful because we really have no idea how many emails they're sending, how many calls they're returning, how many claims they're submitting, and you cannot see any patterns, right? So maybe they're spending too long in your inbox, maybe they are spending too long talking to patients on the phone, right? Perhaps they're getting pulled into tasks that aren't really theirs, or maybe there's a tech tool that can cut time in half, right? But without this data from a time audit, you're basically guessing. And so with a time audit, you have proof and you can fix that. I cannot tell you how many times, and I'll just be very clear, as they're going through the day, I try to correct problems and give feedback in real time. So if I saw that for like a 30-minute block, they just called, Karen, the ketotastic coach, to reschedule her an appointment, and they're putting that it took 30 minutes to do that, I'm going to chime in the comment section, kind of question mark, like, did the patient have a lot to say? Like, phone calls like that should probably take less than 5 minutes, right? And so the first time I started doing these with my assistant, who I got to be very clear, I absolutely love. Oh man, there was fucking so many inefficiencies, or just things I think that he did not think that, you know, Karen, the ketotastic coach, to reschedule her an appointment, and they're putting that it took 30 minutes to do that, I'm going to chime in the comment section, kind of question mark, like, did the patient have a lot to say? Like, phone calls like that should probably take less than 5 minutes, right? And so the first time I started doing these with my assistant, who I got to be very clear, I absolutely love. Oh man, there was fucking so many inefficiencies or just things I think that he did not think that we're inefficient, right? So like at one point, we have one dietitian that sees patients on Saturday. I noticed on the timesheet, we had 5 patients, which would probably take like, I don't know, 2 minutes to bill for. Whatever reason, on his timesheet, he put like 9 to 11:30, billed for Audrey's patients, right? So either he was doing other things he wasn't supposed to be doing, or he wasn't working at all. But I was very quick to chime in real time, like, WTF, like, that should take like 5 fucking minutes, right? So I know it sounds like micromanaging, and I actually I want to talk about micromanaging because every time I take my foot off the gas, and it's really not, I actually really like autonomy, not only with the clinical team that I have, but the administrative team as well. Even in my personal life, I know people probably think I'm a fucking control freak. The reality is that as soon as I stray from those aspects of like inspecting what I expect, right? I want you guys to write that one down. You have to inspect what you expect. Okay. So from your people on your team, right? It's super important to do that. Every time I take my foot off the gas on that, I feel like shit starts happening that shouldn't be happening. So I know it sounds like a lot, and it's like really like I hate doing it, but I have found that when I did it the first couple of times, I was kind of disturbed with what I saw. So I continue to do it. The second piece, also have found this to be very true in my practice, is when you are having your assistants do a time audit, you align like the priorities of the group, of the practice, of the business with the work that's of highest most value, right? So a time audit will show you guys whether or not your assistant is working on the right things, right? Like assistants are generally very busy, but we want to make sure that they're doing the right things, right? Because in every single practice, there's work that matters and work that just keeps the wheels turning. And while the work that keeps the wheels turning is in some sense a lot of times important, it's just not urgent, right? So if your assistant tracks their time, you can keep track of like, are they spending 80% of the day on tasks that truly support growth and support, or are they spending most of the time caught in the weeds, right? So this also allows for us as a business owner to communicate priorities better. You might discover that something you thought takes 10 minutes actually really takes 45 minutes and really doesn't deserve that, that amount of time at all. So a time audit will keep you focused on what actually moves the needle forward. Some examples. So many examples of this one. So in the time audit, I actually have a column, and in the column, I assess based on the tasks that I put on the list what level of importance it is. So for example, we do practice metrics, which are in fact really important for growth, but we're in a season where we are transitioning EMRs and there are fucking fires everywhere. No telehealth links going out, no forms going out, all of the fucking things. And so I noticed, and I understand, I do this too. Like a lot of times we revert back to what's comfortable, and it's not like attacking those fires that are urgent and important. Like my assistant was, was calculating like how many patients we saw last month versus really focusing on priorities, right? In my practice, high priority is always supporting the dietitians who work in my practice. So we drop everything for them, and everything else waits. I don't even know how to explain it, but what I would tell you is that you want to make no assumptions that the person working for you can assess the level of priority. So rather than assume that they know that they should do a particular task first, you need to tell them. So I have my team do an end of day report. And then in the end of day report, they tell me what they're going to work on the next day. I read every single end of day report, and I usually have thoughts and comments, and I might respond, hey, like first thing tomorrow morning, can you call for so-and-so's credentialing application? they're upset and concerned. We need to figure out what's going on. So I usually have thoughts. And what I have found is though, even though those may be self-evident to me as the practice owner, they are not self-evident to them. And it's not fair for me to get unhinged when they're not reading my minds, right? So assumptions make an ass out of you and me. And we always want to make sure that we are directing and delegating. And lastly, this is just like a compilation of moving your business forward. When you are auditing what your assistant is doing, it's allowing you to build systems for delegation and scaling your practice long term, right? The third reason that a time audit is the foundation of actually delegating and scaling, right? As much as I'm talking about micromanaging, the goal is that by providing feedback in real time, the assistant can kind of learn my thought process, right? And so when you know exactly how much time each task takes, and you guys know I drilled down on that for you guys. That's why I want you guys to learn how to bill, learn how to be the bookkeeper, learn how to be the scheduler, so on and so forth. That way, when you hire somebody, you can very easily look at the time audit. Like I could look at that time audit and say, 2.5 hours for billing for 5 patients, that's 50 shades of fucked up, right? Like, let's kind of wind back the clock and like talk about this, right? So it's important, first and foremost, that you know how long each task takes. Then you see how long it takes for somebody who's not you, the unicorn in your practice, to do the thing. And then in going forward, if you need to, like in my world right now, we're adding another assistant. And this will be an assistant to the assistant, right? So we don't want to have to start from scratch. We already know how long things take. We have a step-by-step checklist, and therefore we can assess when things go wrong. Did we not follow the plan? Or were we not educated enough? Because time tracking helps us identify also where things can be automated with software. A lot of times, if your assistant spend 3 hours doing something, sending the same email reminder, it may be worth like the $50 tech solution to automate that or do a Zapier, whatever integration instead of $300 worth of labor, right? That's why I love time audits because we can see where people are spending their time and more importantly, where they should not be spending their time and where we can replace either software or some type of automation. So whether you're trying to free up your assistant for higher level work or preparing your business to grow, the time audit is really going to give you guys the baseline that you need to understand the ins and outs of what that person is doing. So I know that was a lot. There you have it. 3 powerful reasons why every administrative assistant should do a time audit. Number 1, most importantly, you will identify any leaks, right? And hopefully find, like I do every single day of my fucking life, the inefficiencies and where people might be wasting time. Number 2, equally as important, to make sure your assistants are focusing on high value tasks, right? Those are going to be different probably day to day. Those are going to be different based on the types of practices you have and what you actually do in your practice. But don't make the assumption that they know what high priority is, because a lot of times they will do what they're good at, which often is not what needs to get done, because the shit that needs to get done is often challenging and uncomfortable. And number 3, obviously, set up your business for better delegation and scalability. Systems scale, fancy fails. So we always want to make sure that these systems are as simple as possible, whether it be just a little like check sheet, so on and so forth. So if you've never done this before, don't worry. It's not complicated. You can just start by having them with a basic log, 15 to 30 minute increments. You don't have to be a psycho like me and watch it all day long, but I do find in like high stress times like we are in right now in my practice, it allows me to kind of correct mistakes as they're happening and then provide feedback. So I have a lot to say about hiring, firing, maintaining, because in full transparency, I have made all of the mistakes. So hopefully that gives you guys a little bit of clarity. This has been like my favorite hack. I don't even think it's a fucking hack. It's like I have a love-hate relationship with it, but why I love it, it has given me so much feedback on the operation side of my business. So if you're somebody who needs support hiring, firing, administrative assistants, dietitians, CFOs, CMOs, all of the things. I actually have a really kick-ass hiring course that most people don't know about. Go to thehiringdietitian.com. Check it out. It's soup to nuts. It's lots of videos like this, giving you guys both strategy that's both objective and subjective because I think it's equally as important. And if you like this video, subscribe because you guys know each week we try to release videos on topics I see you guys struggling with or topics I'm struggling with. So I'll see you guys next week.